Friends, in this video you will see a thriller movie with a twist, full of mystery and romance. The story of this movie is quite interesting, which will give you a lot of fun and teach you a lot. Therefore, watch the video until the end because the end of the story is heartwarming. So let's start the story. At the beginning of the film, a village in Europe is shown many years ago, where a doctor named Mother comes out of his clinic. His sister Lucy, standing outside, tries to talk to him, but the doctor, seeing her with disdain, goes to his prayer room. In fact, the doctor's sister Lucy, in addition to making herbs, also practiced magic. That's why the doctor did not become a doctor. On reaching his medicine room, the doctor opens the lock of his cupboard and takes out a vial of medicine from it. The person who is imprisoned in the jar of the vial inside the cupboard says to the doctor, "You have imprisoned me for 20 years, my friend. Now set me free." The doctor says, "I have not forgotten what you did to the villagers 20 years ago at the behest of your master." Saying this, the doctor closes the cupboard, but soon forgets to lock it. Outside the doctor's clinic, two brothers, Joe and Sam, who work as woodworkers, bring their own supplies from the city along with the doctor's clinic supplies on their cart. And while giving it to the clinic's nurse, Julie says, "Your father also gave the doctor a son. Give them to them." Lucy's son Adam also stands there. He loves Nurse Julie, and due to being unemployed, he is unable to express it with a swing. When Julie moves forward with the clinic's equipment, Adam stops her and places the phone on her palm with some rishis. But still he is unable to say anything to her. Holding the flowers in her hands, Julie goes inside the clinic smiling. Seeing all this, Adam's disappointment tells her to keep going. One day you will definitely succeed. Now, they take the door closer to Lucy and give her some Venus leaves and say, "Here are the assets you ordered from us." While giving them money, Rossi places a dry stone on Wood's hand. The story goes that Lucy's magic turns the stone into a gold coin. Both brothers are very happy after holding the gold coin. Meanwhile, in the clinic, Julie gives the stone to Dr. Marking and says, "My father sent it for you from the city, doctor. They say you have been practicing with me for 3 years. This year your wish will be fulfilled. Now you have learned coffee." Then the doctor takes the book and tells her to go to my medicine room and make some medicines for mummies from the formula in this book. But don't go to my cupboard as usual. Now Julie takes the book and goes to the doctor's room. There, inside the cupboard, there is a gin in a bottle and says to her, "Dear girl, here." Julie doesn't know that there is a gin in the cupboard. So she opens the cupboard and seeing the gin in a jar, she goes home, pleading with the gin, saying, "Don't be afraid. I will not harm you. And if you free me from my lover, I will fulfill every wish you have." Julie hesitates at first, but then she picks up the jar in her hand to listen to the gin. But only then does the doctor go there. Seeing the jar of gin in Julie's hand, the doctor gets angry and says to her in a loud voice, "What are you doing? You are calling me every time I call you." The jar falls from Julie's hand and breaks, freeing the gin. Seeing this, the gin is very happy to be free from the bottle. The doctor picks up a jar and tells him to go inside quietly. The gin says, "Do you think I'm a rooster? Is my old master still alive? And I'm going to him." Saying this, the gin turns into smoke and goes to the village. As soon as he sees him, the people of the village are terrified. He runs away from his wooden warehouse. Says, "How did the last gin come out?" In the meantime, after practicing with smoke in front of everyone, the gin laughs loudly and says, "Now I am free." Then he turns into smoke and goes to the forest. The doctor gets very angry with Julie, and he goes to pick up the broken glass. He says to Julie, "You don't even know how much trouble the whole village has suffered because of this mistake of yours. I had stopped you from going to the cupboard, but you didn't listen. You will get your punishment, and that will be that you will go home tomorrow morning without completing the training." This makes Julie very sad and disappointed. Meanwhile, the gin flies to a place in the forest where there is a conversation about the relics of the hut. He puts his hand in the hole made on the pole of that era, due to which the hut becomes dark and black smoke starts coming out of it. Now the djinn enters it and comes out through this magical wall to another place. There's another djinn there. He also tricks him in the same way, and through him reaches a forest where his owner Danny, who has become old, is sitting in front of his house made of camels. The genie tells him that he has returned. The owner asks Danny, "Where have you been for the past 20 years? I have been waiting for you in this situation, because only you can make the two conversations you have made secret. That is why I assumed this and could not go to the village from here." The genie says that I had made both conversations for your sake, so that no one could reach you. But 20 years ago, when I went to the village on your behalf, the doctor and his witch sister tricked me into a jar, so I have been imprisoned there for so many years. But yesterday, the doctor's helper broke the jar, and I was freed. Danny asks where the doctor and his witch sister now. The genie tells him that the doctor has become old and is also having an affair with his sister. Danny says, "Now that you have returned, I will make these villagers my slaves again, but before that, fix my appearance. Arrange for me delicious food and wine." Then the djinn, with the magic of his hand, fixes the appearance of the witch, which makes the witch's beard and face clean. The genie becomes like the nobles, telling them that delicious food and wine are ready for you inside the house. The next scene shows the village where Lucy and the rest of the villagers gather near the doctor's clinic. Lucy tells the doctor that we have all seen the genie flying in the sky. How did he get out of the magic jar? It was your responsibility to break the jar. The swing standing there says that it is not the doctor's fault. The jar has broken and escaped from my hands, so it is my fault. Now the doctor says that I will go and catch the genie again. Tilu says that you will not be able to cross the distance alone. Catching the genie is a matter of distance. The doctor says, "Yes, I know." 20 years ago, at Danny's request, the genie had made most of the villagers slaves with his magic. Annie had taken away all the money of the villagers and had become a noble. He was so cunning that he used the genie's magic to turn some of the villagers into stone. I changed it, but Danny was afraid that he might harm him. So the genie made a voice for him on a hill far away from here. To reach this voice, one has to